KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Here they come, y'all. Here they come.
KBLA Talk 1580. It's been a minute, but I'm happy to welcome in someone who's been spreading positivity on our airwaves and the airwaves that I hold the mic for many years. He is founder and director of something called Stretch for Success. He's been doing yoga training since 1975, and he has practiced and taught the integral yoga method of Swamini Turiyasangitananda. And he has videos, he has classes, he's journeyed to India and studied. Yoga master Purusha joins us. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Dominique. How you doing?
I'm blessed. It's great to hear your voice.
And likewise, it has been a minute.
It has indeed. And, you know, I think you probably know that I like to start off the month of January, at least the first couple weeks, really with some tools for folks to process their new cycle, to kind of create opportunities for building and growth. And I think this year in particular, with today being January 6th, and we're 14 days out from the swearing in of an administration that feels very demoralizing for a lot of us, that it would be great to sort of center ourselves in the ideas and practices that you teach.
Yes, that's really important because it doesn't really matter what's happening in the White House. It matters what's happening in our own body and mind. The power is not there. You know, racism, sexism, homophobiaism, predator capitalism, all those things are real, but that's not where the power is. Power is within us. And many of those external things we can't control, and we lose our power trying to control them. It doesn't mean we shouldn't vote, we shouldn't participate, we should. But our power is inside of us.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, this is a great time to try yoga if you haven't tried it before, or to return to it or amp up your practice if you have. But for someone who's never practiced, what are some simple things that you would start with as far as reclaiming that connection to our own power?
Well, I guess there's two ways people could start. You know, they could come to my class. I teach online, and all they have to do is email me, and we can share the email, you know, a couple times during our time together. And my classes are free. They're on a donation basis. People can donate if they, you know, have the means and if they want. But you can come do yoga classes with me on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So that's one option. But you don't have to do that. You can stand up right where you are right now. So this is just, I'm saying this to all your listeners. You can stand up and just stretch your arms for 5 seconds and breathe, like wherever you are. Even if you're in the car, you can still stretch one arm. And then just see how that feels. You can feel energy moving through your body. So really, the challenge is to begin. to actually take a step. So, again, you can stand up and start moving. You can email me and make a commitment to come to class. You can look around and find a class near you. You can go on YouTube. There's a beautiful spiritual saying that says, you take one step towards God, and God will take 10 steps towards you. And you can substitute any words you want for God if the word God doesn't work. But to be in motion, life responds.
Yeah. Let's give out your email while we're thinking about it.
Stretch for FOR success 7 at gmail.com.
Stretch for success 7 at gmail.com. You said we could go on YouTube, and I've perused YouTube for yoga classes and things before, and I've recently read, not that recently, that I think it was like 70%, might even have been 80% of the advice in fitness methodology that's put out on Instagram and other social media platforms is wrong. So, can you give us some places to look, or should we just look for you?
Well, I consider myself an ambassador of, my message is for people to begin to move their bodies. It will affect their mind, emotions, because all of this is interconnected. As you know, Don, yoga is a body, mind, spirit. All these aspects of us are interconnected. So, usually I'll just encourage folks, just get started.
Do a thing.
Even if you get some bad instruction, taking a step, is better than nothing, But again, I'm not here just to toot my own horn, but there's no reason you can't come to a class on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. Or there may be time constraints or something. But if you reach out to me, tell people if they email me, I will help them wherever they are find a class. So
I love that. Yeah,
take a step.
I think I love that so much too. Just move your body, do something, because I feel like with yoga, it's at least on the West Coast. I don't know about the rest of the country, but it's been taken over to a great extent in terms of how we think of it by wealthy women in yoga pants, in $300 yoga pants, or images of some sort of acrobatic thing that most folks might find inaccessible. And I know, when I've taken a class with you before, what we do seems quite simple, but it's amazing how you feel after you're done.
Right. And there are different levels of classes. What you just said certainly is out there. And that perception that that's what yoga is certainly out there. But the word yoga means union. It means to reconnect. And like a reunion, coming back to yourself. And as we've gone on life's journey, we have bumps and bruises, we have challenges, we have some scars, we have some misalignments, we got, bent out of shape here or there. And the practice is about coming back to ourselves, balancing ourselves. So it's really not about that, about looking good or looking cute or what you have on or even
Purusha, it's always about looking cute. I'm just kidding, but not really.
Well, there is that perception, and but if you want to look cute, and there's nothing wrong with that, that also starts from the inside out. That power of attraction.
Yeah,
it's not really in the cosmetics; it's in your energy. So, I'm here to encourage everyone to start to move their body. And there are simple movements that you can do that will have a big effect.
Yeah. And I think that when you talk about yoga being mind, body, and spirit, of course, some people perceive it as, and hopefully we're past this, but some people think it's a religion when it's really a practice.
It's not a religion. It is aligning your body. So we start with the muscles, and yes, we stretch muscles and we strengthen muscles. What the muscles do is they align bones in the body and align our structural sense of being. When our structural sense of being is more in alignment, when we have better posture, our electrical system works better. The impulses that the brain is sending through the nerves that fire the muscles, this electrical system in our body works more efficiently. And the impulses that the nervous system sends to the organs, soft muscles, that stimulate the chemical response, the hormones in our body, that works more effectively. So we have more serotonin, more dopamine, and our mood is altered in a positive way. So step by step, we're becoming more efficient, we're having more vitality, more energy, our mood is better, and then we get to the mental body that we affect through our breathing. We have access to that. We also, our breathing affects the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response. We can control that through our breathing. And then we get to our emotional body. And then we get to whatever people want to call it. You can call it spirit, you can call it consciousness, but deeper aspects of ourselves. So yoga is not about defining that for anyone. Everyone finds their own spiritual path, whatever words they want to use for that, even if they don't like the word spiritual, their own consciousness path, however. But the practice is about experiencing it, not defining it, and definitely not being dogmatic about it.
We always say, well, we'll continue this conversation when we come forward. We always say that we're fact-based, evidence-based, and I know that there's a lot of research around yoga. To me, it reminds me a little bit of acupuncture, where we know that there are all these benefits, even if science can't tell you exactly why. And so I'd love for you to share some of the things that the research is showing us how we will benefit from giving it a try, from moving the body, as you say, from getting connected through yoga. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Thanks to the generous support of the KBLA Talk 1580 delegation, we were able to donate 545 pounds of coats and blankets to the LA Mission this winter season.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
The LA Mission expressed its deep gratitude for our gift all over social media, but we wish to thank them and all the other service providers who look out daily for the less fortunate in our community, finding our happy by being helpful.
Hallelujah.
We're KBLA Talk 1580. Where we do more than just talk.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
It seems like every single month I read new research about the benefits of yoga. We're talking with Master Yoga teacher Purusha. You can find him at stretchforsuccess7@gmail.com. He's committed to either getting you into his Monday, Wednesday, Friday yoga classes or helping you find one near where you are. The latest one I read is that they're saying that yoga may benefit people, older people who are at risk for Alzheimer's disease or dementia, cognitive decline.
Yes. You put it well when you said every day new research studies are coming out. So it's true in terms of cardiovascular health, reducing stress, anxiety, depression, insomnia, diabetes too. Just every day, more and more research is verifying really what those of us who've been practicing for a long time already know, and what these have been talking about for a long time. Because at the heart of 90% of all illnesses, diseases, and this is by Western medicine standards, is stress. Stress is what sets off all the imbalances, misalignment, and causes a host of problems. So when we can reduce stress, we start to eliminate the cause of a host of physical ailments. And of course, one of the most powerful components of that is just breathing. So in our yoga practice, as we do these movements, we're paying attention to our breath. And it just sort of makes basic sense because, we know when we're at work or wherever we are in our daily activities, if someone goes off on us, it's usually not real helpful if we go back off on them as much as we may want to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not helpful. It will amplify. It's throwing, gasoline on the fire. So we know that. And yet most of us, sometime or another, don't do what we know. So that's why this mind-body practice is so important. So that, as my teacher used to say, we can live up to what we know.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at this study from British Journal of Sports Medicine where it was published. From 6 different countries, they studied men who had panic disorder, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, or depression. And they did yoga for just 2 months, once a week, between 20 and 90 minutes, and they saw a marked improvement in their outcomes in terms of anxiety, depression, PTSD, and more. They saw, a huge benefit from this. So it seems like maybe even more important as we get older, when we talk about cognitive decline and the impact of stress on the body, whether it be low back pain or other disorders.
Yeah, it's true, Dominique. And how do we emphasize that it affects every part of the body? So I think one of the turning points was when Dr. Dean Ornish did his book, Reversing Heart Disease. And in his study, he had his participants doing yoga as part of the treatment. And he also had allowed people to make a choice. You could either do yoga practice or you could do, I think it was canoe rowing or some some form of rowing, more strength activity. And it was amazing with the percentage of people who did yoga, how the progress that they made and the health outcomes, the positive health outcomes, whereas the people who were doing more stuff like the rowing or weightlifting didn't have those benefits. So this book called Reversing Heart Disease was the beginning of the research that actually shows, wow, this has tremendous effects for people who have cardiovascular issues. But it's not just that. It's maybe not every, but 90% of all the illnesses and diseases are positively affected by our regular yoga practice. You mentioned low back pain. That's one where with regular, steady practice, often back pain just disappears. It doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, it's powerful. I also saw this study, and I know a lot of folks are on Ozempic and stuff, so maybe they don't care, but I also saw a study where folks who practice yoga, it's not that it would make you lose weight, but it would make you keep it off once you've lost it.
Yeah, because it controls the metabolism.
Oh.
So if you're, like the idea is, let me go to the gym, let me sweat, let me just work all that off. But if you can control your metabolism, your body will start to regulate the amount of food you eat. So when you do a yoga posture like Sarvangasana, which is shoulder stand, and what it does, it puts pressure on the thyroid gland, and the thyroid gland is what controls the metabolism of the body. So you begin to come back into balance. So if you need to eat more, you'll tend to eat more because your body is moving back into homeostasis, back into balance. If you need to eat less, you'll just naturally start to want to eat less because your body is adjusting to what its natural balance point is.
Yeah. And then, there's so many benefits. So we probably don't even have time, but this study weirded me out. They said there was a study where they examined the brains of yoga practitioners, and they found that they had a bigger brain mass compared to people that didn't do yoga who were the same age, and that this is another study. Apparently, the average brain mass in a 40 to 50-year-old meditator was the same size of the average brain mass of a 20 to 30-year-old who didn't meditate. And a lot of folks, of course, pair meditation and yoga together. So it's when you talk about aging, the cognitive decline, the shrinking of your brain mass and your flexibility and all of these things, folks falling, it seems like rather than looking at it as a sport or a practice for the young, perhaps we need to look at it as an activity that's essential for the chronologically gifted.
Chronologically gifted.
I stole that from Tavis, but I love it.
Yes, for all age groups. And for, those of us who, I guess, are moving to 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, it's invaluable. Because the yogis say we're only as old as our spine. And of course, the brain stem runs right down that central channel of the spine. So the spine is really important. And then, of course, we're doing inversions. You're having, the circulation of the body, the blood flowing more and stimulating the brain because sometimes you have the head below the heart, and blood is flowing with gravity, all of that. So in terms of just overall health and energy and life force flowing into every cell and increasing the elimination system so that we're releasing toxins, of course we're going to be increase our vitality, our health, and live longer and happier. I really wonder sometimes, how are folks making it without practicing this stuff? How do folks make it through a stressful, hard day, a full day of, and just not go off?
Yeah.
Because it's not natural the amount of stresses that we have in life now. That's an unnatural situation. And so everybody needs to be doing something to come back into balance.
Well, and a lot of them are going off, Purusha. I know we just have a couple minutes here, and then we're going to be talking with Dr. Ramel Kweku Smith and talk a little about some things we can do to keep our minds stress-free as we go into this year. But I don't know, maybe is it possible for you to do a little guided breathing with us?
Absolutely. So wherever you are, just sit up as straight as you can. And your shoulders are directly over your hips. Your shoulders are relaxed. Kind of feel your buttocks and your sit bones on the chair. And there's a gentle lift of the spine, a gentle lift of the rib cage, but your shoulders are still dropping. It's like your skin is melting, but the bones are elongating, ascending. Soften your throat. Close your eyes. Relax your lips, your tongue. And just kind of notice the breath touching the nostril. And have a slow, easy inhale. Slow, easy exhale. And if you're able to, you can put a hand on your lower belly. And as you breathe, you feel that gentle movement of your belly. And inhale to a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Just a few more. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. And now just be still for a moment. The breathing will continue by itself. You're not doing it. And just see if you can get a sense of your flowing down, the mind flowing down.
Purusha, I hate to stop. I feel like we need to do a whole yoga class, but we have a hard stop here for news, traffic, and sports. And I thank you so much for joining us this morning. I hope you'll come back soon.
Dominique, it's always a pleasure to spend time with you. Congratulations on your wonderful work. Wish the best for you and all your listeners. Peace.
Thank you so much. News, traffic, and sports. And let's work on our minds on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. A major winter storm is expected to bring some of the coldest temperatures to the Midwest and much of the eastern half of the U.S. Blizzard conditions are possible today from Kansas to West Virginia, and the storm could reach the Mid-Atlantic region by this evening. Vice President Kamala Harris will oversee the certification of the 2024 presidential election results today. The House and Senate will meet at 1 p.m. to count the electoral votes. A New Orleans law firm plans to sue the city and police department over the New Year's Day Bourbon Street terrorist attack, claiming negligence in safety precautions. The firm alleges the suspect exploited the negligence, resulting in 14 deaths and dozens of injuries. And Dallas Arrett, ex-girlfriend of the Fort Carson soldier linked to the Las Vegas Cybertruck explosion, calls for better mental health support for soldiers. She says Matthew Livelsberger struggled with PTSD and brain injuries, but avoided help due to stigma. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Lowe's knows how to save you time and money. Order what you need by 2 p.m. to get it delivered same day. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes for same-day delivery. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL playoffs are set. The Chargers and Rams are in the wild card round. The Chargers will play at Houston on Saturday. The Rams will be at home next Monday night against Minnesota. Magic Johnson's NFL team, the Washington Commanders, will play at Tampa Bay Sunday night. First playoff appearance for the Commanders franchise in 5 years. The Commanders' 12-5 record represents their highest win total since 1991. It was a big weekend for Magic. On Saturday, Magic was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award at the White House by President Biden. The Lakers lost at Houston last night, 119-115. The Clippers are at Minnesota tonight. USC's women's basketball team got a 50-point win Sunday at Rutgers, 23 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 steals for USC star Juju Watkins. The Trojans are 14-1, 4-0 in the Big Ten Conference. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ever have one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Ugh, yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance, but Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Oh, Downy in the rinse change. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online.
Uh-huh.
I read that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States have a high risk factor for severe COVID-19. And black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
All right, so our air quality in the studio is 4, which is excellent. I'm breathing well. And outside, it's not bad either. It's 71, which is only sensitive folks will have a problem breathing. This is according to IQ Air, our filtration system throughout the station. And, of course, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580. I'm so pleased he could jump on with us. He is Dr. Kweku Ramel Ayirefi Amoasi is the Chief Wellness Officer for Blacksmith Psychological Consultative Services. He's from Milwaukee. He's got a Master of Science in Educational Psychology and a Doctorate of Philosophy in Urban Education with an emphasis in school psychology. He's also a licensed psychologist. Good morning, Dr. Kweku.
Good morning, Queen. How are you doing? And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy 2025. And it's the infamous January 6th day when we, saw the attempted coup on our Capitol. We're 2 weeks out from an inauguration, which many find to be pretty depressing. I wonder, from 2021 and January 6th to now, have you encountered the psychological impact of these events in your practice? I know you work with sports teams and individuals.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say it like when you go to sports, because January 6th is one of those polarizing days. For some people, they believe it to be a day of patriots, that people regain their country back. If you remember, you can look back, some people had on shirts and sweatshirts that said January 6th, 2021 Civil War. And
Yeah.
that was their mindset. We're taking our country back. So for those people, they felt they were doing something great. But then for those who I say who are more sane, they understood that this was an insurrection on our country, that even if they didn't believe in the validity of the voting, that was not the way to go about it. Being inside of the Speaker's house, threatening to hang the vice president, having different people believe that their lives were in danger, actually a person was killed. We saw this as a day that we saw American democracy crumble to an extent, and people still haven't recovered. It's almost like with COVID. A lot of people think that we recovered from COVID because we said it's over, but the ill effects of COVID are still dealing with it. So you say, what are the effects? The effects is that sometimes people don't even know that they're still dealing with it. So to understand that a democracy that we know is so fragile, well, we never, is that at any time something can happen that we never thought could happen, that we see happen in other countries that we look at, we laugh at, we scoff at, we recognize we're just as vulnerable to. So that leaves people in an emotional, vulnerable state that allows them not to be as comfortable inside of their country, which then has the ramifications on everything else they do, whether they see it on a conscious or subconscious level.
Yeah, I remember not too long after that, January 6, 2021, I had a young person tell me, if the fascists, if the white supremacists are taking over, what's the use of living?
Yeah, well, this is one of the things that I'm a big fan of James Baldwin, and he talks about, hey, it is a difficult situation, but he said, for me to be able to fight for our right to have everything we need is something that's worth even dying for. And when we look at anybody in the annals of history, in times of antiquity, who we greatly respect is those martyrs, those men and women who are willing to sacrifice their lives, whether it's physically sacrifice their lives or the cost of life or cost of living, the things that they could have had that they sacrificed by being opponents to those who would champion evil. And so what it is, our duty is for those who understand justice and want that, is to say, what are we willing to do, not only for us, but for our posterity, for our children of tomorrow? What are we willing to sacrifice and give? So although it may seem hopeless, it may seem like it's a decision or issue that's difficult, it almost goes into, when we think of something as horrible as suicide, a person who says, I have nothing to live for. And we tell people, as long as you have breath, you have hope. And if we can give you a smidgen of hope, we can give you a reason just to live for the next day. And so I would say that to those who feel that about the country. What is it that you might be able to do that can move the needle to make this country better, that might be able to keep something bad from happening? We look at that one police officer who shot that one lady and killed her. I don't think that the insurrectionists understood what they were doing and the reality of it. But when they saw that lady get shot and get killed, they all stood down. And just like that one man changed the trajectory of that day, one of us might be able to do something in our efforts, whether it's through what we do as a journalist, what we do as a therapist, what we do as a teacher, what we do as a soldier, what we do as a politician, what we do as an activist. We never understand the power of our action and how that can change the trajectory of something that's going negative to positive.
Yeah, and I think when earlier in the show today, I was talking Thompson and Matsamela Mapfumo, and he was saying that a lot of activists are feeling tired, they're feeling discouraged, they're feeling burnt out. So what are some simple things or not so simple things that you, as a psychologist, would suggest folks that are encountering that energy do?
Yeah, so we had a lot of that going on where I'm at in Milwaukee too. So you obviously, when the trifecta, unfortunately, of Ahmaud and Breonna and George had happened, you saw all of these uprisings in different cities. And the people who had took this battle on, they started to feel the fatigue, what we call a compassion fatigue. It was like, I can't do this, because some felt like they were doing it by themselves. So it's three things what we tell people is, one, recognize it's a marathon, not a sprint. Sometimes people go so hard where they can't sustain the pace where they're at. Number two, they try to do things by themselves. So understanding that there is power in groups. Whenever you have a group, you can help to sustain the power and to lean on each other at those different times. And three, to recognize you don't have to do everything. In this beautiful tapestry of life, you are one piece of the puzzle. And if you can do your one piece, you should feel content. Sometimes people feel they have to do more than what they could. They have unrealistic expectations, and those unrealistic expectations lead to a higher and faster level of burnout because they're trying to do something that they're incapable of doing.
Yeah. So those are things that we can do for ourselves just in our thought process. What about tools that you employ, psychological tools that we can use to talk ourselves or write ourselves or breathe ourselves off the ledge, so to speak?
You know, the simplest things are the truest things. So when I work with people, I say, if you can control these three things, you put yourself in a good position to deal with whatever demons, whatever soldiers, whatever arrows that may come at you. The first thing is what we have to do is to prepare ourselves. If we're in a battle, we have to look at ourselves as soldiers. So how do you eat? What are you physically putting into your body? A lot of times we know the things we're putting into our body is counterproductive to good health, but yet we do it. We rationalize it, justify it anyway. So first, how are we eating? What are we putting into our body? What are the things we shouldn't be putting into our body because we know that they are poisonous, but yet we still do? But then also, what do we eat mentally? What are we reading? What are we watching? What are we doing to fortify our mind to make sure that we are strong as can be? But then second, exercise. Now, at the beginning of the new year, everybody has these resolutions because we want a fit body for many multiple reasons. But if you're going to be in any type of a race, you need to make sure your body is prepared. So are we exercising properly? And I'm talking about all of the things that you said, from running, from weights, from yoga, all of the different things that we know will maximize our body. And then the last one of those three is sleep. We understand the things we need to do, but do we actually do them? If we're getting the proper amount of sleep, and it varies for every person, it can go from 4 to 9 hours depending on who you are, but we have to recognize what is our natural circadian rhythm, not fight against that, and not use excuses to keep ourselves up and sacrifice our sleep when we know we should be asleep. So it's the simple things in life that we don't do that brings and breaks our body down, because if we don't eat right, we don't exercise, we don't sleep, it compromises our immune system, and not just the physical immune, but the emotional immune system. It makes us weaker and more susceptible to all different types of attacks, from depression, anxiety, just like it would for any type of a cold or flu.
You sound like you're reminding me of Dick Gregory right now. He used to say, the great Dick Gregory used to say, the three leading causes of death in America are lack of sleep, lack of exercise, and dehydration. So it sounds like you guys are on the same page. We're talking with Dr. Kweku.
He's a hero of mine.
Yes, indeed, and mine as well. Ayirefi Amoasi. And we'll continue our conversation when we come forward. We're getting it right for 2025 on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
That was another way. I would smoke once an hour. That didn't work either. All that would happen at some point of the day, I would end up doubling up. Other ways that I tried to quit was I stopped buying cigarettes totally. But if I took 3 puffs off of 15 friends, those didn't count because they weren't my cigarettes and they weren't full cigarettes. I went through a lot.
Every attempt is part of your story to quit for good. Visit Kick It California today at kickitca.org.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from Nits in the Atmosphere.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop! Swiffer Power Mop!
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
And I must say, I am reveling in and truly enjoying having these two masterful and brilliant black men to get us in alignment for the battles ahead. We had a yoga instructor, Purusha, starting off the Hour Stretch for Success 7 at gmail.com. And Dr. Kweku Ayirefi Amoasi, Chief Wellness Officer for Blacksmith Psychological Services, on with us now. And if you're looking for him online, it's BLAQUE and then Smith, blacksmith.com, BLAQUE, blacksmith.com. You write a lot of articles, you got a blog, you have your own radio show, do a lot of things that are not in that bio. So if folks want to find you, certainly your voice is available in many spaces. What did I leave out as far as looking for your words, Dr. Kweku?
No, just as it relates to the things that we're doing, is I just see myself as a helper. And so, like, when you called, I'll be honest with you, it was perfect for me. When we talk about January 6th, this is the day my dad was born, but he passed away 20 years ago. So I was sitting in a state of sadness. And so when you call, it reminded me of what my grandmother said. She said, the best way to heal yourself is to help others. So where you calling me at this time is almost a godsend because it works both ways. So what I tell people with that story is that sometimes when things seem to not be going your way and we're caught up in our own sorrows, our own troubles that could be legitimate, one of the best ways, and this is neurologically supported, is to go out and help others. That's why there's a gift in volunteering. That's why there's a gift in helping, because it increases our serotonin, increases our dopamine, all of those neurotransmitters that increase those feel-good qualities. You don't have to turn to a drug or an alcohol or something that has counterproductive results after the good initial results. So I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you and the audience at KBLA.
Happy birthday to your papa. What's his name?
Robert Elmer Smith.
Robert Elmer Smith. Happy birthday, Mr. Smith. It's funny that you would say that because my father's angelversary, the anniversary of his passing, is always January 9th, and I find myself feeling sad, and sometimes I don't realize why. Then I remember, oh yeah, I have to give love to my dad, because that reminds me, that places me in some kind of context of why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling.
Yeah, and this is the beautiful thing in what we see, because some days don't hit you as hard, and some days you say, oh, where does it come? And so the question is, what do we do? And the beauty of it is, some days we can just sit still. You say, I don't have the strength to help anybody else, and that's okay. What we have to do is not put pressure on ourselves. So in part of that healing, that being even with the compassion fatigue we previously were talking about, sometimes it's okay to sit out. You don't have to go to every rally. You don't have to go to every meeting. You sometimes have to sit down. We're kind of playful, like looking at the playoffs starting, and you look at the Rams, and they say, do we need to sit out some guys before the big game so they can be ready? And what it is, it's a strategic thing that you say, sometimes I need to rest, because rest is a part of recovery. So even being strategic about, is this a time to go harder? Is this a time to kind of chill? Or is this a time to kind of go in and out when I see fit? And so being knowledgeable about yourself, we talk about Imhotep saying knowledge of self is importance is key. We have to understand ourselves. So as we go through these unfortunate kind of trauma-filled anniversaries, we learn year by year, what are the things that kind of put me in a good place, in the right place, and to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So what are the things I kind of need to do? So that's one of the biggest things what we want to do, is to learn from the past so we can prepare for the future.
One of our most venerated members of our KBLA delegation, Miss Molly Bell, straight out of Compton, says, she's in the YouTube chat. She says, I don't sleep like I did when I worked at the post office. Since my fall and osteoporosis, my life has been different. I feel as if I'm out of the loop. I did all the exercise equals activism. And she's repeatedly said she has lost her joy. So what would you say to someone like Miss Molly Bell about getting that joy back and adjusting to major changes like that in our lives, which are going to happen at different seasons, right?
Yeah, first I just want to say thank you for all of the service that you put in. When a person gets to retire, that should be a joyful manner, but specifically in the Western side society like ours, we do put so much of our identity inside of our profession, our vocation. That's one of the first things people ask, what do you do for a living? Because that becomes a part of us. So when that part is taken away, we have to reimagine who we are. So we used to hear the sayings, we have to reinvent ourselves. So what I would tell the queen is to say, find something that what makes you want to get up in the morning. Having a job gives you a purpose, a sense of something. And so she says she's lost her joy. And this is the thing, whenever we talk with people in recovery systems and they say, I want to stop doing drugs, we say, okay, and they stop. But if they can't find something that gives them the same pleasure and love as drugs, they eventually go back. And so why she hasn't found her joy is because she hasn't found something to give her the same joy that she got with working. Because not only do we work, but you have a work family, so you lose communion, you lose community, you lose all of those little bitty things. So it's not just the job, but everything that goes around it. So without knowing her and trying to act like I have all of the answers, but what I would suggest is to say, relook and say, what are some of the things that made you happy? What are some of the dreams you had when you were younger that you might think you're too old to do now, but you're not? Maybe it's going back to school. Maybe it's learning some things online, like a new language. Maybe it's traveling a little bit more. Maybe it is volunteering at a school or doing something on a semi-regular basis that give you that level of continuity and regularity where you say, I do have a purpose. Because when people do not have a purpose, they do feel lost. So the key is what am I here to do? And because she's still breathing and she still has the ability to write and to be able to confess and to be able to profess these things, we know she has a right mind. Now it's a matter of her going back into her mind to find what is it that I really want to do that I might be afraid, that I might have talked myself out of or I thought was too late. I would say reimagine those things.
Yeah, I have a friend, just hearing you say that, I have a friend who's 80 and she volunteers online for the NAACP. Like they have things you can do, calling people, letter writing and different things. So even if you can't leave your house necessarily, they're able to do those things. I want to circle back a little bit to the things you laid out for us to do, and you said sleep. I think sleep is one of the most underrated things, especially for activists and news junkies. And it's not just, beauty rest. There's actually a whole chemical chain of reaction and a psychological processing stuff that happens right when we sleep.
Well, yeah, and this is what we tell people because obviously, when you work with athletes, it's a big thing with sleep, especially when you do time zones change. How can we readjust the circadian rhythm? But sometimes people say, well, I have all of those things, but when I'm rested, I just can't sleep. So it's a few things what I say. Sometimes when we can't sleep, it's because of some unresolved issue inside of us. And when you go to sleep, your subconscious comes out. And that can be painful and it can be hurtful for some people. So if you can't go to sleep, that's a red flag to say there's something internally that's not going on with me. Two, I heard you say, well, what if we're news junkies? And that's one of the things we have to have moderation on. When we talk about what do we eat, we say, what do I put in my mind? If your news cycle is 24/7, you never have a chance to rest and to reset. So you have to create a formula for bedtime. It's just like when we have a small child, we say, you know what we're going to do before bed? We're going to take a warm bath. We're going to put on our pajamas. We're going to have milk and cookies. We're going to brush our teeth. We're going to say our prayers. I'm going to read a book. It's a pattern that puts us to sleep. And once you get a consistent pattern, that what creates that circadian rhythm. We tell people if you're in your bed anytime except for the sleep, that's bad sleep hygiene. If you're in a room that's very hot, that's bad sleep hygiene. If you're in a room with a TV or a radio going, that's bad sleep hygiene. You want to be in a room that's cool, a smell, something like with lavender that produces sleep, and your bed should be almost like Pavlovian. When your body hits that bed, that I know it's time for sleep, so that helps to produce it. So what I tell people, your sleep pattern, and to do it consistently.
And this mentality of I'll sleep when I'm dead, I think it's a side effect of predatory capitalism. Yeah.
No, it sounds like, it's just like people say, I'm going to give 120%, which is impossible. You can only give 100%. So it sounds slick, but it's not necessarily true. So what we say is, let's be realistic. We're humans. Our body needs to rest. And if you're really going to be at your best, you want to make sure that when you're up fully.
Yeah. Like the athletes do. Well, the careful ones, the ones that are paying attention, right?
There's always anomalies. Like they said, Malcolm spent 4 hours sleeping. So there's always some people with different systems. You have to know you. And if when you wake up, you still feel tired, you feel sluggish, that means it's not good. If you wake up and things are fresh for you, then keep doing what you're doing. It's only when you're up and you say something's not right that you have to change.
Well, Dr. Kweku Ayirefi Amoasi, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and rest in peace to your precious Papa.
Blessings, Queen. Thank you.
I'm going to finish with a quote from James Baldwin, since Dr. Kweku brought him up. He says, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." Tavis Smiley's up next. He's got an incredible show on deck for you, as usual, on this Monday. He's coming hard on January 6th. And I want to remind you, tap in to us, with us on social media. We're at KBLA 1580 on all platforms. I'm at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Today is the day. We welcome Cornell West, Jesse Jackson Jr., Nina Turner, and, of course, Dr. Nee to his new slot, Jill Monroe. Woo, it's on and popping around here at KBLA. Like my mama used to say, history is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. A major winter storm is expected to bring some of the coldest temperatures to the Midwest and much of the eastern half of the U.S. Blizzard conditions are possible today from Kansas to West Virginia, and the storm could reach the Mid-Atlantic region by this evening. Vice President Kamala Harris will oversee the certification of the 2024 presidential election results today. The House and Senate will meet at 1 p.m. to count the electoral votes. A New Orleans law firm plans to sue the city and police department over the New Year's Day Bourbon Street terrorist attack, claiming negligence in safety precautions. The firm alleges the suspect exploited the negligence, resulting in 14 deaths and dozens of injuries. And Alice Ehret, ex-girlfriend of the Fort Carson soldier linked to the Las Vegas Cybertruck explosion, calls for better mental health support for soldiers. She says Matthew Livelsberger struggled with PTSD and brain injuries, but avoided help due to stigma. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Lowe's knows how to save you time and money. Order what you need by 2 p.m. to get it delivered same day. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes for same-day delivery. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL playoffs are set. The Chargers and Rams are in the wild card round. The Chargers will play at Houston on Saturday. The Rams will be at home next Monday night against Minnesota. Magic Johnson's NFL team, the Washington Commanders, will play at Tampa Bay Sunday night. First playoff appearance for the Commanders franchise in 5 years. The Commanders' 12-5 record represents their highest win total since 1991. It was a big weekend for Magic. On Saturday, Magic was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award at the White House by President Biden. The Lakers lost at Houston last night, 119-115. The Clippers are at Minnesota tonight. USC's women's basketball team got a 50-point win Sunday at Rutgers, 23 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 steals for USC star Juju Watkins. The Trojans are 14-1, 4-0 in the Big Ten Conference. No debates, no speculation, just the
Folks who appreciate follow-through. Here's a quick recap of the KBLA Talk 1580 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. More than